Hello viewers, how are you? My name is Hebert. I am a professional driver at AgriFresh. I grew up in Zimbabwe. I was born and grew up in Zimbabwe in the year 1976. I went through my secondary education and my higher education. And after that, I moved to South Africa, where I started driving trucks as a professional truck driver. I drove different types of trucks and different types of combinations. I drove types of makes like Mercedes-Benz, Scania, Volvo, DAF, and I drove. I also put different trailers like flat decks, total liner trailers. Those here we call them B trains. I also put side tippers, and I also put tanker drivers. So I worked for more than 8 to 10 years in South Africa as a professional truck driver. And I thought I should embark on new challenges. That's how and why I started looking for work from abroad, and particularly in Canada, because according to my research, I've seen Canada, first and foremost, there's good remuneration for drivers, and there's good healthcare system, and there's good education system for my family and my children, and there's cost of living is too good in Canada. That's how I opted to go on a job search on the internet. No one told me about this company, so I just go on job searching, and finally got a link and applied on the link on Facebook. That's how I got my job here at AgriFresh. I saw a link for AgriFresh. I go on their website. I applied for the job. I put in my details there, and they sent me a link. They invited me for a meeting. At first, I was skeptical. I didn't know how genuine was the company, and I didn't know anything about the processes. So, when you are just searching a job, sometimes you end up in the wrong hands. But that wasn't the case with that was not the case with AgriFresh. I got a link, and they booked me a meeting, of which I did my first meeting. On the first meeting, they asked about my experience. They asked about my status of where I was working and staying. They asked about, more importantly, they are family-oriented company. They asked about my family and how much I was willing to come to Canada, and if my family members were in agreement with with the idea of coming to Canada. So yeah, that was the first round, and then I was asked to submit all my documents that are required when you are doing the processes. It's a whole lot of documents, including your educational qualifications, your experience, your tax proof forms, your marriage status, and my English. Most importantly, my English test. That's what they want most, and to prove that you do have enough funds for you to move from your present country to Canada, since it's a whole process and it requires a lot of money. And that aspect of money side is the most important aspect on this journey. You need to be having settlement funds, and there is a lot that you are going to do with that funds. You need to apply for the visa. You need to do your biometrics. You need to do your medicals. No one is going to ask you to say, can we see your money? All they need is your bank statement. And your bank statement, you must make sure that is backed with that money, because that money is needed. I need to emphasize on money issue. The money is needed on the whole process. So back to my journey for applying to come to Canada, I was given that checklist that I'm talking about, of which I provided that checklist within the time limits. It's also very important to do your things in the given time limits. And they want someone who communicates. Every time you need to communicate to AgriFresh, there's a lady there who's called Carmen. She is a very, very, very good lady. She is willing to go an extra mile to make sure that everything is in place. I can say she's the right person for the job. And I also want to emphasize that she has eyes to see if you are a prosperous candidate or if you are one of those ones that turn a town and then you opt out because you'll be feeling the heat, and the heat is there. I don't want to lie, because you need to put your house in order, you need to put your documents in order, you need to move within the timelines. So my first interview was being introduced to the immigration processes. My second interview was being introduced to the immigration processes. So within the timelines, I managed to pull up all my required checklist, and I submitted to AgriFresh. And then they also submitted for me in the first round for immigration. And they do a nomination process based on province. That is called the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program. That is what I am embarked on. It was a long journey, but not that it's frustrating, boss. They will be helping you all the way until the last day, until you get here to Canada. So we did the first round for immigration. We did the second round, that was applying for the nomination certificate. We moved quickly within the timelines, and I can safely say in 6 months or so, I had my nomination certificate. My nomination certificate, I was very happy because it came with permanent resident status. They give you a chance to apply for a permanent resident, which is a good thing. You can even apply for a permanent resident before you even come to Canada. And then after we continued to the process of doing the work permit, it also took a few months, but to me, I can say it was pretty much quick. So yes, I was very happy with the process. Carmen was holding my hand, and yeah, that was too fantastic, because she took off all my fears that if I start this journey and things may turn to be difficult, but she has taken off all my fears. I became very confident on what I was doing. So we applied for the work permit. It took very few months to get my work permit, and you can also be given a chance to apply for an American visa. Since AgriFresh is a cross-border company, they only do cross-border in the south of America and in the north of America. That is, they have dedicated routes in Arizona, that is, and in Texas, and in California, and sometimes you go to see new other places like DC, Washington, and Oregon. So back to my processes, during the application of work permit, they give me material for mandatory entry training level to learn about how is it to drive trucks in Canada and in America. Yeah, it's a bit long process. It comes with a lot of things that can educate you. They equip you with all equipment that you need, so that when you come here, it becomes easier to obtain your class 5 driver's license, and all your knowledge tests for air brake and for class 1. And I can pretty much say that mandatory energy training level material that they provide you serves you just right. It enlightens you in what you are going to get into. It gives you a roadmap that is clear about what it is to drive in America and Canada. So it helped me a lot. It helped me a lot, because when I come here, I didn't struggle to get my knowledge test for class 5. I didn't struggle to get my class 5 driver's license. I didn't struggle to get my air brake and my knowledge test for class 1, which was pretty much good. And it also made my life easier at the school, which we took 6 weeks of training, serious and intensive I can say it's intensive training. There's no time wasted there. They make sure that you know all the pros and cons. They make sure that you know all the nitty-gritties about driving in Canada. And they send you to the best school, I can say, in Manitoba. That is, for me, that is the best. I don't know if there are other schools, but for me, that is the best. They teach you all that you need to know. They equip you with every piece of information that will help you in your journey of driving. So I also managed to get I also managed to pass my class 1 driver's license with the first attempt, and I passed my class 5 driver's license with the first attempt. I was very happy to say when I received my class 1 driver's license, and I went to you. They call you to AgriFresh to come and do your orientation. That is, it takes something like 1 week or 4 days, depending on how fast you are catching up on things. And I went there to AgriFresh. We did all the orientation of how do we go about our PODs, how we go about crossing the border, all the information that you did. And I was very happy to say they were very confident in me, and they allocated me a track to go to America alone on the first day. At first, I was skeptical to say, I don't know America and I don't know how I'm going to go about it. I don't know what it is to be crossing the border. But since I was provided with all that information, I became confident. To be honest, I became confident. And I was allocated my load to go to Idaho State, of which on the first day of the trip, I just took my truck with much confidence. I went to pick up my load. It was pretty much easy sending the PODs because they have their equipment that makes your life pretty much easy sending all the PODs. So yes, I did send all my PODs and they were confirmed and I was cleared. I sent me the confirmation to say I was cleared by the border. I drove to the border. I used Sweetgrass that links America in Canada between Montana state in America and Alberta in Canada. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty much easy. It was just like a continuation of everything that I've been doing in Africa. There was nothing very much new about that. In terms that, yeah, you need to be getting used and be driving on the left side and all the other rules, the new rules that were not on where I was driving before. And you need to be working by the rules and you need to be strict by the rules. So yeah, man, I got my first trip and it was pretty much good. I seen a lot of good scenery in Montana, and I went through D. Washington and at Oregon. Those are also nice views there. And I went back to Canada, and I could safely say that it was a very, very successful first trip with no hassles, with no problems at all. So yeah, I mean that. Since then, I was just taking things as normal as possible. I took things as normal as possible. So yeah, man, and working out AgriFresh is a very good thing. They give you time, enough time to be home as much as you want to be home, and you should also be able to balance the two. You need to be working for you to be able to pay your bills. You need to go and see your family. It's very important. And at AgriFresh, they allow you that team, and there's a very good team by the dispatch, by the office team that is doing different stuff to help you driving be very comfortable. They will help you to be very, very comfortable with the driving at AgriFresh. They work you hand in hand with you. You can call them if you need anything. You can email them and they respond very timelessly. There's a very good team at AgriFresh. And I can safely say if anyone want to apply for a job at AgriFresh, AgriFresh is the place to be. AgriFresh is the place to be. It's a long journey. It's not easy. But if you are determined, you can make it because they will help you all the way. They will give you the necessary information that you need on everything. So I'm pretty much say I'm happy to be working at AgriFresh. And here I'm, as I said, I'm in California, in Oxnard, picking a load from California to Toronto. That's a long journey. It's about 2,600 miles. So yes, man, there is a lot of miles at AgriFresh. You can work as much as you want, and yeah, you can earn a good living working for AgriFresh. Very much happy to recommend anyone who want to come and join AgriFresh. I'm very much happy to say, come to AgriFresh. You will not regret it. Come to AgriFresh. They will help you with everything that you need in your immigration process. They actually makes your life easy. They actually makes your life easy. So I can recommend anyone, any time of the day, any time of the week, any time of the month to apply for a job at AgriFresh. Yes, life in the truck, man. That's the most important aspect that I was happy about. When I was driving trucks in Africa, we normally most of the times drive European Max. They are good trucks, but they doesn't have space, man. They don't have that space for you to maneuver around the truck to do your things in the truck, and the trucks are equipped with all the necessary tools that you need to be working within in the truck. They are nice beds and very nice, comfortable beds, man. Two of them, and you can use your electric gadgets if you want to cook for yourself. I'm driving a Kenworth T60. It's a 2021 model, which is pretty much easy to work with, which is pretty much easy to be driving. It's a very comfortable truck. And I'm pulling and here at AgriFresh, we deliver fresh and health, that is fruits and vegetables from America to Canada, and sometimes we brought meat here. So it's mainly a reefer business. It's mainly a reefer business. So it's also important to be having that reefer experience. It's also important to be having that reefer experience. My family is here, very happy to be here, and that's one most important aspect thing that I forgot to mention, that AgriFresh helps you to come with your family. And I know with the drivers, it's a very difficult situation to leave your family behind and come here to Canada. But when they do the visa processes, they allow you to include your family, and your wife gets an open work permit, your kids get study permit to be studying and working here in Canada, which is what I did. I came here with my family at the same time. And yes, and my wife got an open work permit, and when she came here, she got a job straight away. And now that we are permanent residents in Canada, my kids can all apply for grants. They can go to school as much as they want, because the government of Canada helps you grow on educational terms. They help you grow in educational terms. They actually provide funds, and you go to medicals. It's like they just walk in, you get treated on whatever you want to be treated. You see a doctor at your request, unlike in other countries where the health system issues are a big problem, or it's very expensive to go and get treated when you get sick. And here on AgriFresh, we have another alternative plan, that is group health insurance, that covers you and your family. And that's very important on the health side of being here in Canada.